So I'm just enabling the YouTube live. So it takes a second. Please stand by. Okay, good morning and good evening, everyone. This is Praveen Nidumolu, your webinar host from JNTU Hyderabad Alumni Association. And we are very grateful as well as very privileged to bring together another month of, we call it monthly words of wisdom from our eminent speakers. So first of all, happy Holi and happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone. Momentous events this week, celebrated worldwide. I still remember hosting MR, who is Mr. Ramaswamy, founder of Indiaspora, as well as an accomplished innovator, entrepreneur, and a force multiplier for a lot of our Indian community, starting from the Silicon Valley. And Srinivas Adepu, who happens to be our very own alumnus, about 5-6 years ago, the founder and CTO of FlexMotive, and is doing great work helping physically challenged individuals with great products and services. Where they shared their experiences and insights on the evolution of entrepreneurship, innovation, and how all of us can partner for a better world and better communities. For today's theme, I have a few quotes that I found were very insightful that we can all learn from. Ayurveda states, when diet is wrong, medicine of no use. When diet is appropriate and correct, medicine is of no need. And David Frawley, a great supporter of Sanatan Dharma, said, as long as we don't live in harmony with nature and our constitution, we cannot expect ourselves to be really healed. Ayurveda gives us the means. And Sebastian Pole, also a great philosopher and writer, also said, because we cannot scrub our inner body, we need to learn a few skills to help cleanse our tissues, organs, and mind. These are all different reminders for us to. There's an echo. Can you mute, please?
We are okay.
Yeah, all right. There was some background. Sorry about that. So these are reminders for us to focus on our health, most certainly. And we have our eminent speaker, Dr. Keshav, who's going to give us a lot more insights about our health. And being healthy is not just enough, as we learned from our own witty poet extraordinaire, I would say, Tenal Ramakrishna, who happened to take both health and wealth together, if you remember, and wisdom all together from the goddess, from the story that we learned. And one of the most important things is making sure we ensure financial health for ourselves and our families, extended families, and the community, so we can give back as well. And for that, we have Mr. P.V. Narasimha, who is our very own alumnus, who will share his words of wisdom on how to be more prepared for the future from a family point of view. So these monthly webinars brought to you by our very own JNTUH Alumni Association are intended to promote such holistic thoughts, truly transformational ideas that can help us lead very purposeful, healthy, happy, and prosperous lives among the alumni, students, and the faculty. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Dr. Hari Ipanapalli, the Global Ambassador of JNTUH Alumni Association, to provide an update on the various activities of the Alumni Association. Hari Garu, please take it away.
Yeah. Thank you, Praveen, for the wonderful pearls of wisdom, and also the today's topic, health and wealth. That's the two important aspects of what we need on this planet. Without health, we cannot do anything. Without wealth, a lot of things we may not be able to do. I think we've got wonderful speakers today. Again, I would like to welcome Keshav and also PV for joining us today to share their experience and also guidance to keep our alumni healthy, and wealthy. Thank you so much. And I just wanted to be proud of our great legacy of JNTUH Alumni Association, and JNTUH had a history of 50 years. It was established on 2nd October 1972, and this year we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of JNTUH Golden Jubilee celebrations. And I would like to congratulate all of you for being part of this great, great university, the first technological university established in India. Again, we have about close to 270 affiliated colleges and 8 constituent colleges. And it was divided into 4 institutions in 2008 on September 24th, 2008, actually. JNTUH College of Engineering became the JNTUH University had 3 colleges: JNTUH College of Engineering, JNTUH College of Engineering Kakinada, JNTUH College of Engineering Anantapur. Each of them became an independent university, and also the Fine Arts College also became a university. In addition to that, now we have about 8 constituent colleges: the JNTUH College of Engineering, JNTUH College of Engineering Jagityal, Manthani, Sultanpur, and also Institute of Science and Technology, Kukatpalli, School of Information Technology, Kukatpalli, School of Management Studies, Kukatpalli, and School of Continuing and Distance Education, Kukatpalli. These are all 8 constituent colleges. So we wanted to have an alumni association to bring all these things together, and it was approved by the administration on August 31st, 2020, and we registered the US incorporation called JNTUH Alumni Association, Inc. And it was launched on November 15th on 2020 by the governor, the chancellor of the university, Dr. Soundararajan, who applauded our initiative, and also the in-charge vice chancellor at that time, Jayesh Ranjan, rector, registrar, and all the directors of the and principals of the colleges also attended that event. And since then, we've been growing the organization, not just in the US, but other parts of the world as well. As Kumar Garu mentioned, now we have a group of people working from Canada, Australia, Singapore, and now we are getting into Middle East and Europe as well. So there are about 2 million people graduated with JNTUH degrees during the last 50 years. Now it's time to bring them together to help each other and also help the mother institution. And we have hefty about 10 objectives. I'm not going to go over each of them, but goal is to promote exchange programs for students, scientists, and distinguished scholars of JNTUH between United States of America and India and other countries. Provide support and guidance to elevate the brand image of JNTUH and raise the endowment fund, and also conduct the webinars like these that we are doing today. Plus, during the pandemic times, JNTUH Alumni Association really took the responsibility of helping the fellow human beings, and we were able to raise some funds to provide PPE kits, and also the raised funds to provide 2 ambulances with the support of all of you. In addition to this, we also launched on the inaugural day on November 15, 2020, plans for an alumni center on campus, and the university administration was kind enough to allocate about half-acre land. And we laid the foundation stone on October 3rd, 2021, in the inaugural day of the Golden Jubilee celebrations, again by the governor of Telangana, Dr. Soundararajan, who happens to be the chancellor of the university. And recently, we constituted about 10 different standing committees to work on the JNTUH Alumni Association objectives. In addition to that, now we need to put together a fundraising committee to support the Alumni Association activities, including the building fund that we need to do. We are trying to build about 50,000 square foot, 5-floor structure, which we can share those details very soon. And we seriously looking for volunteers who can serve on that committee to take that initiative forward. Since it is a Golden Jubilee year, we would like to at least make a couple of floors in place to showcase that the alumni is serious about giving back to the university as well as to our alumni. Again, with this, I would like to thank each one of you. And if you joined late, there will be a networking session right after the segments of the speakers. And we look forward to working with you. And I would like to again congratulate all the recently appointed directors, co-directors, and also our executive committee under the leadership of President Kumar Rani, Secretary Sudhakar Uppala, Treasurer Vishwanath, and also our International Director Praveen Nidumolu. So we have our past president, the founding president, Swami Shiruburumdur, who is not able to join today, but he's going to be as a board of director, and he will be helping us as well continuously. Thank you, Swami, for taking the organization forward. Again, with this, I would like to request all of you to tune in to the speakers and get benefited to be healthy and also financially wealthy, so that you could support the activities of our organization and also support your own family and whether other things in your life. Thank you so much, Praveen.
Thank you, Hari Garu, for a wonderful overview of not only our objectives, but also our recent alumni activities, and motivating and call for action for all the alumni to support us to take this forward for our alma mater and each other. Now, we'll move on to the next segment. Before that, I want to quickly remind, in the chat window, I put links to register yourself on JNTU Alumni Association, and also included a link to the past webinars. Please self-subscribe and join the LinkedIn groups for JNTUH Alumni Association, as well as the YouTube channel, to take advantage of some of the past webinars that you may have missed, like the one I was sharing from last year, March, that of MR and Srinivas from a year ago. Now, without further ado, let's move to the next segment of getting this words of wisdom. And for that, I'd like to welcome our Bylaws and Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee Director, Sunita Krosuri Garu, to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Keshav Vadlamani.
Thank you, Praveen Garu, and thank you, Hari Garu, Kumar Garu, Sudhakar Garu. And it's a great privilege and honor to introduce Dr. Keshav Vadlamani Garu. He is a founder of Varan Nutrition LLC, and also he transformed ingredient technologies into innovative nutrition products, helping consumers meeting their unique nutritional needs. He is very passionate about giving the gift of health. That is very nice, and we really appreciate your time and effort for today. And he's found so many like innovative things. Like, he's a science and technology leader in the food industry with 20 plus years of leadership and experience. And it's very nice. And he worked with the big companies like Campbell Soup, Rexall, Sundown, International Food Network. And he is into many startups, and very much into discovering food and development of novelty food. His introductions and his technologies, including innovations, include lower sodium sea salt and salt taste enhancement, novel plant proteins, gluten-free technologies for bakery and baked goods, and natural and clean label ingredients. It is very nice. We all need this, your guidance, Sandy. We always consume a lot of salt, and it is the main, I think, culprit of so many diseases. And it is very nice that we'll have some guidance today. And Dr. Keshav Garu earned his Bachelor of Science in Dairy Science from Andhra Pradesh Agricultural University, India, and a Master of Science and Food Technology from CFTRI, Center for Food Technological Research Institute, Mysore, India, and a Master of Science and Doctorate in Grain Science from Kansas State University, USA. Keshav Garu also owns 10 patents and patent applications. And he is a wealth of knowledge, and we all will definitely will get a benefit from his experience and his presentation. And I'm looking forward to hear from you, Andy. Very nice, and thank you so much. And again, it's an honor for you to have your presentation. Thank you again.
Thank you, Sunita Garu, for kind words. Good morning, my friends. My name is Keshav Vadlamani. I'm the CEO and a co-founder of Varan Nutrition. Let me see. Water Nutrition. First, I would like to thank Dr. Hari, Garu, Mr. Kumar, Mr. Praveen, and the JNTU alumni for giving me this opportunity to speak with you. Our today's topic is healthy snacks for healthy living. Under that, I would like to specifically focus on diabetic-friendly foods, which is close to my heart. As we all know, we all, including our friends and family, are actively trying to manage various health conditions like diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular health, weight management through healthy eating and exercise. So it's not easy, but we're all trying to do our best. I'm here today to share with you about our exciting work on diabetic-friendly Indian snack foods work at Water Nutrition we are doing, and how we are going to help our Indian consumers maintain their glycemic health. As we all know, traditional Indian foods are carb-centric, mainly based on rice and wheat, and they're not really friendly for diabetics, as they tend to raise their blood glucose levels very fast. So with that, there is a need and a gap in the marketplace to have more friendly options, diabetic-friendly options for Indian foods in the marketplace. I'm a food scientist with 20 plus years of industry experience in food and nutrition products, and also expertise in various functional ingredients such as slow digestible carbs, low sodium salts, cholesterol lowering ingredients. Using that expertise at Water Nutrition, we are passionate about creating diabetic friendly, healthy Indian snack food products, and helping our Indian consumers maintain their glycemic health. With that, I just want to give you some insights on statistics around diabetes. Approximately about 500 million people around the world suffer from diabetes. It's a growing health concern, and India ranks the second in the world with approximately 77 million people being considered diabetic. India is estimated to surpass China as a number one diabetic in next 25 years. US ranks third in the population with about 34 million people. And diabetes is the seventh leading cause of the death, besides cardiovascular, heart disease, and cancer. So these are some of the statistics I would you like to be aware of. In addition to 110 million diabetics in both in India and US, we also have an additional 200 million people who are considered pre-diabetic. So these pre-diabetic people, in the next 10 years, about 50% of them are going to be fully developed into diabetes. So it's a growing health concern. And interestingly, medical expenses are especially in US, are very expensive. And typically a diabetic consumer, diabetic patient spends roughly about $10,000 to maintain health. And it is diabetic can be reversed with diet and exercise. And here are some basics about blood sugar levels and diabetic conditions. So a normal and healthy person is considered have a fasting blood glucose level below 100. If the person has blood glucose levels between 100 and 125, the person is considered to have a pre-diabetic condition. And having blood sugar levels higher than 126 is considered a diabetic condition. So it's important to understand basics and how do we manage our health conditions on a regular basis. Here are some 5 general principles one can adapt to successfully manage their health conditions and lead a healthy life, which includes education, understanding of various implications about the diabetes and its impact on overall health and performance. The second one is a physical activity. Several studies have shown that indulging in moderate physical activity every day, like walking, immensely benefits the diabetic patients. And we're going to focus exclusively today on healthy eating. I'll talk more about it in just in a while. And monitoring, a continuous monitoring and creating a log or diary to understand your blood glucose levels throughout the day and the impact of different diets and how they impact your blood sugar levels. That will immensely help in actively managing your healthy lifestyle. Of course, the last one is the medication, is the one we continuously, in consultation with the doctor, we recommend taking it, as well as having a regular checkup. On healthy eating, it is highly recommended that diabetic and pre-diabetic patients are recommended to go on a carb control diet. Recommended to limit their carb intake to 30 to 40 grams per meal occasion, which is not much actually. So considering our eating habits, especially South Indians and Indians, so we tend to overeat high carb diet, and also having small portions throughout the day. So spreading the carb intake throughout the day is one approach one can adapt. It's also important to select active, healthy foods like that are low in carbs, like nuts and seeds as a snacks. Salads that are low in carb and very healthy salads, especially they're high in fiber, and whole grain foods that are rich in fiber and complex carbohydrates and protein foods. Those are some of the things one could adapt to actively manage their glycemic health. So here I just want to share some consumer insights, as we are all aware and are educating ourselves about various food options in the marketplace. Consumers are getting more knowledgeable and recognizing the benefits of limiting the carbohydrates and sugars in the marketplace. People have surveyed, most people are saying that they would like to limit their sugars or carbohydrate intake in their diets. And about 1/3 of the population who surveyed actually say they're actively looking at food labels, trying to understand each food, how much the carb contribution is, sugar contribution is. And also majority of the people are avoiding artificial sweeteners and looking for more natural options to include, so as a part of their healthy diet. So people are getting more knowledgeable and active in the space. I just want to give some insights now on our traditional breakfast foods and how they contribute to the high blood glucose levels. So our traditional Indian breakfast foods such as chapati, dosa, pongal, all you're familiar with, they're all based on rice and wheat. And they're very highly carb-centric. Typically, if a person consumes recommended serving size, for example, idli, a typical serving size, 2 idlis, which will give you about 30 to 50 grams of carbohydrates per a meal occasion. However, as far as I know, many of us consume more than 2 idlis. Typically, maybe 4, maybe 6, depending on how we feel about how hungry we are. So typically, we tend to overeat. So we can clearly see how it will impact our overall blood sugar levels. So I also wanted to point out on the glycemic index is the one way to measure the impact of our foods on the blood sugar levels. So the higher the number, the blood sugar, the blood glycemic index varies from 0 to 100 on a scale. And typically higher the number means it will raise your blood sugar higher. So its impact. So typically, if you look at all this, our products have, chapati has 81 glycemic index value of 81, dosa 77, idli 77, pongal 90, and upma 67. So they're all high. So we can imagine that how they can contribute to high blood sugar levels in our life. So based on the glycemic index, all our food products are categorized into 3 different categories. Foods that have glycemic index value of 70 and above are considered high, and they tend to raise your blood sugar level very high. So try to avoid with the foods with the high glycemic index values. Medium glycemic index products tend to have a value of 56 to 69. And the low glycemic index, which is more preferred for diabetic people, tend to have a value of 55 and below. So they tend to raise your blood sugar levels lower. Now, I would like to introduce to you 2 concepts called glycemic index and glycemic load. These 2 concepts are very important to understand so that we understand the overall impact of our foods and how they affect our blood sugar levels. So the glycemic index is a measure of relative glucose raise in the blood by the typically consumed food. And is compared against a standard reference carbohydrates such as simple sugar called glucose. So we are always comparing against glucose and how, in terms of glucose, how our products are raise our blood glucose levels. So that's one aspect. So the second one, as I mentioned earlier, they are based on the glycemic index scale. They're categorized into 3 categories. The second one is the glycemic load, which is the amount of total carbohydrates we consume, corrected for the glycemic index value of that particular food. So they're basically a net impact. So it's important to understand the glycemic index. Also, we needed to keep that in mind, that how many carbs we are consuming. So just because we have a low carbohydrate food doesn't mean that we may have a little room to consume more food, but we just need to watch for that. So in this example, we have a pear, which is a medium pear, which is a standard serving size. Seems to, if you eat one pear, we consume about 13 grams of net carbs. And it has a glycemic index, low glycemic index, which is 33. So the net impact, if we eat a medium-sized pear, the impact is 4 grams of carb equivalent. So that's how we needed to understand. So we needed to use these two together to help better manage our food intake and manage our healthy blood sugar levels. So I just wanted to paint a picture of how the current diabetic food marketplace in India and the opportunity that exists for us. Diabetic food market in India is still in its infancy and it's growing. It was estimated to be worth approximately $600 million in 2017 and estimated to double by 2023. By now, it's probably over $1 billion industry. There are several major players like IDC, Britannia, Amul, PepsiCo, Kellogg, several players, several food companies are playing this category with various products like biscuits, especially more prominent in baked goods category, and beverages, low carb, low sugar beverages, confectionery, ice creams, dairy products, and breakfast cereal. So those are some of the categories. You will see more products that are suitable for diabetics. Our traditional breakfast food market is still underdeveloped, like we talked about dosa, idli, and majority of the players like Haldiram's, MTR, GITS, you see, they still haven't really tapped that market. So there is a huge opportunity to create a diabetic friendly product segment in this marketplace. With that, I would say healthy snacks for glycemic health offer a great opportunity for us. And here I would like to introduce our company, Water Nutrition, and how we're going to address some of the market needs in the marketplace. So Water Nutrition is we are a purpose-driven startup company with a mission to transform ingredient technologies into innovative and nutrition products, helping our consumers with their unique nutritional needs and enhancing the quality of their lives every day. So that's our mission. And we are passionate about our products and the work we are doing. And just to quickly introduce my co-founder and a good friend as a part of our team, Dr. Nagendra Rangavajula, who is not here today. He is my friend from CFTR at Mysore. We go way back to India during our education, and he has 25 plus years of health and nutrition experience, and he worked for Nestle, Mead Johnson, Abbott, which is some of the companies which are major players in the diabetic products and infant nutrition formulations in US. So at World Nutrition, we are primarily focusing on glycemic health with the emphasis on two areas. One is the blood glucose management through a carb-friendly, the technology we are calling Lente, which is slowly digestible carbohydrate technology. And also would like to create products that gives you sustained energy and performance. So those are the two areas under this category we are creating. Our products are scientifically formulated with the known ingredients that are that have a nutritional benefits and impact on the glycemic management. Coupling with clinical validation, our products are validated through informal validation to our friends and family. So we guarantee that we want to make sure that our products are deliver on nutrition and the health benefit we are advocating. So as with any food products, we face several challenges in creating delicious diabetic friendly products, which include taste, texture, functionality, having the right texture and processability. So we consider all these challenges, and we overcome using our expertise and technology, using technology and the ingredients in creating these products. Here I would like to introduce, as a part of the healthy living topic, millets, which are one of the foundational ingredients in our formulations and known for role in diabetes. I just want to share some insights, general insights. Millets are ancient grain grown over the many years. There are roughly about 6,000 varieties known to be grown around the world. Though there are predominantly about 8 varieties most of us are familiar with, like sorghum, finger millet, which is ragi, foxtail millet, barnyard millet, little millet, and so on and so forth. So they typically, millets are very nutritious and they are sustainable crops. They require less water and can be grown in poor soil. Interestingly, India is one of the leading producers of the millets and account for 1/3 of world production. So here are some of the premier organizations in India, includes Indian Institute of Millets Research, University of Agricultural Sciences from Karnataka, Tamil Nadu Agricultural University, and Madras Diabetes Research Foundation. These are all organizations have done extensive work on millets, their nutritional benefits, and validated on several health benefits. So I encourage every one of you in your leisure time to visit this website and learn more about the benefits of these ingredients and how to incorporate into your diet. Here is a summary slide on the nutrition composition of the millets. I'm not going to go through every single line here. Basically, I just want to hit the highlights. Typically, millets are non-allergenic and they're gluten-free considered. So if you're interested, in more gluten-free products we could use as a part of your diet. And they're rich in fiber, typically varies from 2 to 10%, and also very high in minerals, especially iron, good source of iron, potassium, phosphorus. And they're rich in complex carbs, which we are calling slow digestible carbs, and have immense benefit on diabetic health. To summarize the health benefits of millets, several studies have shown that consumption of millets will help us in maintaining several health conditions such as heart disease by lowering the cholesterol, maintaining good cholesterol levels. Most importantly, help manage our blood sugar levels and helping diabetics and glycemic health. Also, it's good for digestive health because of the high fiber content, maintaining regularity and risk of cancer. These are some of the benefits. So I encourage everyone to actively include some of these millets into your diet in every day. So also, I just wanted to point out that millets are now gaining more and more popularity in the marketplace. As you go through the Indian supermarket aisles, you will see a number of on the shelf actually actively marketing these ingredients by themselves. Also, there is a doctor and Dr. Bharat Reddy, probably you're familiar, who is based in Hyderabad, is one of the prominent advocates of millet-based food products and diets. Actually, you can watch out on the YouTube and learn more about the benefits of these ingredients. So with that, what we do at Water Nutrition, we combine our food industry experience, food science, and ingredient functionality experience, our formulation expertise, and processing technologies. You know, we are familiar with a lot of them. We can explore a number of different ways how we can create delicious, nutritious, diabetic-friendly products. So this is what we do using these combining all these 5 expertise skills. We create these products. Now, allow me to introduce our first diabetic-friendly breakfast plus idli mix to you. This product I have been working on for the last year, and this is a product we have formulated scientifically using legume proteins and millets with good for you carbs. One of the challenges in creating this product is having the right texture, having the lower carb content, and also having the right glycemic impact. So we have a proprietary way we have created this formulation. As you can see, our product delivers more protein, 100% more protein, roughly about 8 grams compared to 4 grams from traditional idli. Also, it's 40% fewer carbs. We are typically rice idli delivers about roughly around 30 grams of carbs per serving. Ours roughly about 18 grams, and also very good fiber. We are more fiber than traditional products. And we have a superior taste and texture. Our product is proven to provide you a gentle on your blood glucose sugar, blood sugar levels. I have shared some of these products with my close friends and family, Kumar, Mr. Kumar, and Dr. Hari, and a few others. We are pre-commercial at this point, and we have a limited samples available. If you are interested in testing these products, we are happy to provide you samples and get your feedback. We intend to be fully commercial in Q2 of this year, and through e-commerce platform, and potentially through distribution near your Indian grocery stores. In addition to that, I just want to point out that we have additional products in the pipeline, development pipeline, which include all different breakfast items. We'd like to intend to be a one-stop shop for you. And you can see some of these products I have listed here, which will be commercialized in the next incoming years, along with the idli mix. With that, I would like to conclude my presentation, and thank you all for your valuable time this Saturday morning spending with me. And I hope I'm able to give you some insights around diabetic friendly foods, how to manage glycemic health, and share some useful pointers. If you're interested in our products or want to partner with us, feel free to reach out to us. Happy to provide you samples or any other insights I would like to share on any other topics around low sodium salts or cholesterol lowering medications and things, ingredients and things like that. Thank you once again for your time. I appreciate it. I'm happy to answer your questions.
Yeah, great presentation, Dr. Keshav Garu. I think it hits home for several of us that are either on the borderline or diabetic. So very timely for a lot of us and others who can take advantage of it when they watch the recording. So we do have some questions. First question comes from Vishwa Garu. Please go ahead.
You may unshare your screen if you want.
Yeah. Health is wealth, and in that context, it is very great to hear a speech from Keshav Garu. And it is really, I mean, if we cannot sustain good health, we cannot have wealth, which is going to be taken up by our next speaker. And I thank you on behalf of our executive committee and on behalf of our all the audiences. Thank you. Thank you again, sir. It's so great.
Thank you, Vishwagar. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, Vishwagar, you had a question. Do you want to ask that?
Oh, yeah, I can ask that here. Okay.
Yeah, that was the point. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, basically,
the question quickly. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
know. Basically, you are pointing out, I mean, actually part of your speech, you were pointing all that upma, idli, and that was really mouth-watering to everybody. I don't think anybody can lie on that. But at the same time, we wanted you to enlighten us. I mean, roughly, like on each package, we always say, okay, how many servings can you have? Similarly, in a normal average idli, I mean, what is available around are made at home. Everybody makes at home, you know. And will you be able to recommend how many idlis can somebody have on a monthly basis or on a weekly basis, something like that? That gives a good guidance because it is easier to follow whatever we are eating and control, if at all we have a control, particularly those mouth-watering dishes.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate. Yeah, it's a good question. Even though, yeah, I could definitely put together a summary sheet for everybody's benefit and share with you on the guidelines for recommended serving sizes and what would be the best practices for healthy maintenance of glycemic health. Typically, if you read, I'm a food scientist, so I'm very familiar with the reading, looking at the labels, food products, understanding the serving size. So for the benefit of people not familiar with that, it's hard to understand. So typically for idli, the serving size is 2 idlis, so which approximately equates to 80 grams when you finished cooked the idlis. If you weigh them, roughly the recommended serving is 80 grams. But all my life, I have never seen anybody eating 2 idlis. So that's the problem. So that's one thing we can't get away from that. When we see all these dishes, we tend to overeat. So one of the things people with the diabetes, we need to have that discipline. We needed to. It's not easy. I have gone off the rails when I initially was diagnosed a few years ago as a pre-diabetic condition. It's very difficult, to go to sticking to a regimen, so 2 idlis are recommended. People tend to eat 4, 5, I don't know, it's probably 6 sometimes. So you can imagine how your blood sugar level will shoot up after eating. So one advantage for our product is since we are reducing the carb content in our product, you may be able to indulge a little more without impacting high. So that's the one benefit of having that combination of low carb as well as the slow release carbohydrates that will gently release the blood sugar levels. So those are some of the things. I'm happy to put together a document with recommended for traditional Indian foods, recommended serving size, and some of the best practices, and how to manage actively through diet and exercise. So I'm happy to do that. So
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. There are a couple of requests for samples. I wanted to put my name first out there, but in fact, if you could share your email address and contact information in the chat here, I think it will benefit everybody reaching out directly.
Sure, we'll do that.
Yeah, that's
and
fantastic.
Also, I just want to show you this is what it looks like in a pouch. It comes. So easy mix and easy preparation. So you can have.
Yeah, so Nalini Garu and Nagesh Garu, if you have any questions, in addition to what you have posted here, feel free to come off mute and ask your question.
Thank you so much. Can I go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead, Nalini Garu.
Thank you so much, Dr. Keshav Garu. It's an amazing session. Although part of this information is in our head and heart, as noted, is very difficult to, put it to exercise. However, I just have a quick question. There are products claiming they could reverse diabetes. Even through the diet that you would recommend, is there a possibility that we could reverse diabetes? And the second question is, if you have a family hierarchy where diabetes sits in the genes, is there a possibility to break it from your research or from your awareness? Could you please help us? Thank you so much, Keshav Garu.
Thank you, Nalini Garu, for the question. I try to answer. So there are products that claim are beneficial, claiming that you can reverse the diabetic. It is to a certain extent and true. However, it can come back. So if you're not, it's not one-time done deal. You're gone and then it goes away. It's not like that. Once you are, my understanding is once you are diagnosed with diabetes, you have to stay active and constantly monitoring and educating yourself so that you are not going off the rails. So that's very important. So by controlling the diet, by using various means like you have keto diets that are high in fats, low in carbs, Atkins diet, or you have low glycemic food, some of these. You have to, my recommendation is one has to customize their dietary plan, which works for you. That's why I recommend that it goes through some initial thinking, experimenting with the different products, understanding how they impact your blood sugar levels, and creating a log, a diary for yourself so that you know which products you want to eat, which products you don't want to eat. So I also want to put a disclaimer, just because some of these products claim low glycemic index, they may not necessarily be the same. So each product is different. So I encourage you to actually test your products and measure your blood sugar levels and see if it's really working. Actually, that's the true test. A lot of these products claim making different claims. So that's my personal experience. So you need to create your own a dietary plan using some of these what you learn from these different products and come up with dietary plan for a week or whatever, a month. You want to rotate because you can't eat chapati every day or idli every day. So we are humans. So that's where I stop. So the second part of the question, I know there is some literature that suggests hereditary, but I think it's, in my opinion, it's also more about your lifestyle. If you're too sedentary and not active, you have a tendency to develop because you gain weight, being overeat, consumption of calories and carbohydrates. So it's just it's a combination of things that we need to worry about.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you so much.
Keshav.
Thank you.
Yeah. So next question. Let me go across the globe. We see Jaikar from India. Jaikar, can you come off mute? And please ask your question. Maybe we can see you as well if you have your video on. Go ahead. Jaikar, we cannot hear you if you're speaking.
In fact, Jaikar is calling from India, Hyderabad.
Yeah, he's.
Hi, Jaikar, we can't hear you.
Yeah, maybe you can post your question in chat because in the interest of time, we'd like to move forward. Let me go to quickly.
Nagesh. Praveen, can I ask a quick question if the time permits?
Yeah, I think Nagesh Garu is in line. Nagesh Garu, did you have a question? Otherwise, we'll go to Sudhakar Garu.
Oh, no. I think I got answered. Thank you.
Okay, Sudhakar Garu, go ahead, please.
Yeah, it was very nice presentation. So Keshav Garu, I have a quick question. When you showed the map, you see like countries in Africa has very low diabetic rate. Any reason why they have much lesser compared to other countries or other regions?
It's probably, it's just a pure guess for me because I'm not quite sure. They typically, the African diets, they do have a high rate of consumption of millets, their eating habits. If you look at, they're not rice-based or wheat-based. So they use some of these millets and ancient grains that could be helping them in maintaining their healthy diet. And also could be their lifestyle and the race. Some of the traditionally in U.S. what we have found was Indians, Hispanics, Blacks tend to have a high rate of diabetes in U.S. especially, but it could be different in the South African. I hope.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
I was happy to find more information for you and later share with you.
Yeah, Sudhakar, I was going to guess they probably have less sofas there. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, they do a lot of hard work and exercise, maybe.
Yeah, that could be too. So.
Yeah, I could not see any question from Jaikar Garu from India. If you do have anything, please post it in the chat. We'll revisit it. I think in the interest of time, we'd love to move forward. That was a great presentation from Dr. Keshav Garu, and I'd like to welcome JNTUH Ventures co-director Suresh Chapidi to present his message of thanks to our esteemed speaker, Keshav Garu.
Thank you, Praveen. Thank you, Dr. Keshav AA, for your time and expertise in helping us understand the process and educating us in diabetes. Totally appreciate that. I really appreciate the way you put in, summarize education, physical activity, and healthy eating, and going through the healthy eatings into the details, helping us with what are the recommended diet that we have to follow. Totally appreciate that, and I think most, if not all of us, have directly or indirectly impacted with these things and help us to be proactive in delaying or eliminating it altogether. Thank you once again, sir. Appreciate all your help.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Keshav Garu. And there's a quick question in the chat from Jaikar Garu. Let me quickly read that. I guess the question is about Jaikarji's dad, whose digestive capabilities are a little low. Pulses and other high proteins are a little difficult. So any good diet, he is looking for recommendations because he's 90 years of age.
Yes, definitely. I think it's a good. It's a good question. Actually, is for patients with people who are old and not able to consume a regular diet. Maybe some of the things, one way to supplement them with is the high protein liquid product options. You have a Boost, Ensure, some of these beverage products that could be one way to supplement them. And Italy may be somewhat more digestible in my opinion. My mom eats every day. My mom is 81, 82. And she loves idli because she can't eat, she can't chew on the tough products so she likes every day to cook idli and eat it. So it may be more digestible. I could look up some more additional options for you in terms of what would be suitable for your dad so that we can create a plan for him. So.
Thank you, Dr. Keshav Garu. And Jaikarji, you can reach out to Keshav Garu. His email address is posted in the chat by Kumar Garu, so feel free to send a message. And thank you so much, Keshav Garu, once again for sharing wonderful insights. I think it's an area which the whole world needs. So thank you for your innovations. And I hope you would consider to come back and share more of your innovations and words of wisdom in these sessions in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Without further ado, we can move to our valedictory keynote speaker, our second esteemed keynote speaker. And to introduce Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao Garu, who happens to be our very own alumnus, I'd like to welcome our webinar team member and a very active JNTUH alumni member, Srinivas Ganji, to please introduce our second speaker.
Yeah, thank you, Praveen Garu. So good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining here today. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our speaker today, who is going to talk about the design a smart family planning. This is a subject in which we all should be deeply interested in, as it provides the deep insights and also understanding of our future financial planning, as well as the investment methods too. Our speaker, Mr. P.V. Narasimha Garu, who is also our very own alumnus, is a renowned financial advisor for financial planning, as well as investment planning. He is currently a fund manager for Max Index Capital Partners. Mr. Narasimha's expertise is like multifaceted. In addition to the in-depth knowledge and experience in financial planning and investment, he also has about 3 decades of experience in software industry development as a developer, architect, as well as in the management area, especially in the financial industry. He also holds a master's degree in computer science. He is also a licensed in health as well as life insurance in about 10 states. And then in last year, he is in the top producers list for 2021 in My IMO, where about 3,000 plus agents participated. Right. With this introduction, I would like to welcome Mr. Narasimha Garu. Narasimha Garu, please start your valuable presentation, Andy. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that kind introduction. Well, what a good morning I had. Before I introduce myself and continue, I want to say a quick word about Keshava Garu. You really made my morning, and I have a quick comment to make there. I've been living on millet diet for the last 4 years. Very close to 100% of all my diet has been millet diet in the last 4 years. Close to 100%. It's not a joke.
Okay, great.
And I've been eating a combination of 5 millets and rotate them. And there's also good news about idli not taking 4 or 5 or 10. The thing with the millets is it's a complex carb. Therefore, you may be able to contain with 2 and be happy. It may take 2 to 4 months to set down, because I used to eat 4 cups of rice as a typical South Asian rice eater. I don't eat no more than 1.5 cup of millet, cooked one, not uncooked. So I can tell you the quantity. So he was mentioning about the glycemic index, the glycemic load. The glycemic load can be definitely, if there is anything that is possible that can bring down the glycemic load, it's a millet diet. It is very difficult to bring that down with a typical rice wheat carb thing. So I'm so happy today to meet from a scientist kind of a perspective. So just one more person endorsing my lifestyle. So I'm so grateful to have that. And I'll be happy to be a spokesperson or something like that for your company, having such a high millet diet in my life. Not only I had my millet diet, I endorsed these local food stores to get more and more and drop the prices, because they've been gouging on the prices on the millets. And then I at least made at least 15 to 20 people in my yoga group to adopt to the millet diet as well. But what you're presenting is a refreshing thing, because right now my diet is all I have to self-cook and do all that stuff. If there's some ready-made stuff, why not? So it's very difficult for me to make idli and dosa with millet. I've been just eating plain millet for all the 4 years, but looking forward to quickly try those millet dosas, millet vadas and whatnot. So looking very much forward to your products. Now, ending on that note, so now I'm going to get back to my stuff. First of all, I want to thank Haryana and Krishna and Praveen to give me this opportunity to present. It's a very tricky presentation, because normally I'm used to 1 to 2 day presentations with 300-400 slides or something like that, cut down those things and do it. I got to do it in 20 minutes. That's what I was told. So I cut down all the jargon, all the Wall Street jargon and all those things, and put 3-4 slides and a quick summary and a couple of use cases and stories. So what you can take home today is a story, what you can do with your finances. So what I'm going to present today is 2 parts, very quickly. 1-minute part, which is about investments. I'm a founder of a private equity fund. It's called Fund of Funds. It's basically meant for high net worth individuals with a minimum investment of $100,000 and above. So this is also a risk managed one. Anything I touch is about risk, whether it's health or yoga or financial. It's all about how am I managing my risk. So the first part, which is basically about investment, is about risk management. So it's a fund of funds. It's all about managing the risk. It's a defined risk. And the second part is going to be financial planning. It's also about risk, but that's not an investment. That is about your asset management and very close alternative to your IRA and whatever your nest eggs are, whether it is real estate or whether it is 401k. What are the other alternatives and have you ever heard about it? And it's a fantastic alternative to your nest eggs. So those are two parts. So let's quickly go to the first part, which will be very quick. So there's going to be only one slide. Let me see.
Yeah, you can share the screen.
Share the screen, right? Yeah, let me notice that. Share the screen. Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yes, and
okay. All right. Okay. So maybe I'll bring that in the end. That's a better one because this will blend very well with the second part. So what are we worried about in general? I mean, nest egg, we are turning 40, late 40s, early 50s, and worrying about what am I going to do with my nest egg? So these are if we don't think about it, our spouse or whoever are going to remind us. Typically, nest egg, when I say nest egg, I'm talking not about investment like the 10,000, 20,000 in a stock or bond or whatever it is. What's the biggest asset we got that we are looking to use in our retirement for distribution purpose? For the most part, most of us have in 401k/IRA, if it is gone from the current job and the previous jobs. So that's for the most part, that's the highest component we have as a part of retirement. And the next comes is our home loan or home when we are going to pay it off, and that's going to be available. Typically, these are the two largest assets we got. And for some other fortunate people, they may have other investments and whatnot. Okay, but these are the two largest ones that we got. And are they safe? What are we going to do? So, and then real estate is actually illiquid. So I won't address much of those illiquid assets. So I'll be talking about the liquid asset, which is 401k IRA. So the presentation today is about TARP, which is basically tax advantage retirement planning, which is a fantastic alternative to 401k. So if we think about 401k, what do we do with 401k? We have three phases in life: accumulation, then basically consolidation, then followed by distribution. So from ages late 20s to early 30s, early 50s, we are actually accumulating. We are contributing every month somewhere anywhere between $0 to $25,000, depending on our age, into that, and hoping it's going to grow at some point. And most of them are in some kind of an equity funds or a target fund or something like that. Many of us don't even open 401ks. We all manage that the stock and Microsoft and those individual stocks where we have $10,000, $20,000 like every minute. But the one that we have $1 million, we don't even open our statements because it is going to be there. It's a classic problem.
Sorry,
yeah. Sure.
What is that TARP, T-A-R-P? Sorry, you must have told, but I don't know.
Sure, it's a tax advantage retirement plan.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So we'll go more in detail. It's all about that.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
So in 401k, this is what we are doing. For 15 to 20 years, we are accumulating, and then starting in the mid 50s, once it reaches a sizable size, then we are thinking, oh, should I move it? Should I store it? And 50% of my clients, when I talk to them, when I have over $1 million in their accounts, they start doing market timing. They're worried if the market goes too much, am I going to lose now? Or when it goes down, they cannot have sleep. Either way, it is a problem. So this basically it is a fear, stress. When if the market is overperforming, we have stress. If it's underperforming, we have stress. So that's another issue. And then what happens after 65? So we hang up our boots, that's our nest egg. So, and most of it is, if we go to Wall Street professional or any accomplished professional, they'll say, okay, by definition, they will tell you, hey, you're 65, you cannot put in stock market. Until then, even if you're brave enough to put it in the stock market, they will tell you, you're 65, you cannot do that because you got to be that's very risky and whatnot. So they will advise you to put it in some kind of a money market or very close to money market thing, and they charge a percentage or two fees, and basically and apply a rule of 4, and the rest of the life take whatever 3 to 4% of whatever nest egg you got. And meanwhile, if we pass, death is an event, right? We do not know when it's going to happen. When the death happens, we have to pay whatever's left over. We have to pay the taxes, and if it's a big amount, the nominal tax rate is somewhere between 40 to 50%. And whatever is left over goes to our beneficiaries. So that is a typical, life cycle of a 401k. We accumulate, we consolidate, and then during distribution, and then upon the death. So the 4 events. Now, and that's all we have been taught, and that's what most of us know. And we could put that even if we have outside of the 401k, it will be very close to something very similar. And many people think that we are getting a tax benefit. It's only tax deferred, but it is not tax free. So we have to pay taxes on 401k, dead or alive, at some point in our life. So the distributions, and most of people do not know that. Let's say if you have $1 million and we are taking out $50,000 every year for the next several years after we retire, guess what? That $50,000 that we are taking out is taxable. It's like your paycheck. You have to pay taxes on that. It's not tax-free. So many people do not know that. So these are the things that what we know about our own nest egg. So today what we are going to talk about is, what about if we get rid of all these negatives in a 401k? Is there such a plan? Is it too good to be true? Let us see what happens. What if you have a 401k, and if I tell you you can have market downside protection, the market doesn't have to go 40% down. You can be in equity markets. Can we get rid of that thing? Yes, we can do. What if I can tell you, you can make 6 to 12% tax deferred and tax free? And it's a very good diversification tool. To me, I was looking for this kind of a tool for about 10 years because I was being told I need to have $2 to $5 million in my retirement account so that I can live off the interest and pass when I'm dead to my children. That's not really true. Why? Because after 65, because there's no market, I cannot be in the market. Why? Because there is risk. Every 5 seconds, I'll be talking the word risk. So why? Because market go down. That's why I'm not going to be there. But if I'm giving something that protects me from that particular risk, then I'm open to that. So here we have an instrument where you can be protected from the market downside risk. Okay. So if you had the $1 million in 401k at 65 to 90, you're out of luck. You're keeping that pretty much in close to, so it is, so the amount of money that you're ever going to pull out somewhere between 70 to 80%, depending on your tax bracket. So 600 to 700,000 is what you're going to pull out net. But can we change that? Yeah. What if you can pull out $3 million to $11 million instead of 600 to 700,000, same money between the ages of 65 to 90? Do we have instruments like that? Absolutely, yes. Then not only those numbers and the tax related advantages, it also has additional advantages like probate, it's a death event, legal is a lifetime issue, estate planning, somebody who is going to be worth anywhere between $3 and $100 million, they're going to be having another issue, is estate plan. So here's another fantastic tool that's available. And what about the tax shelter? So what if I retire at 65. Okay, at some point when I'm 75 or 80, I have my house that is going to be liquidated. I'm going to have somewhere with $200,000, $1 million. Where am I going to park it? In a CD? Hell no, it has no value. And then it goes into an estate, upon death if it's a much higher value. Can we shelter that? Whether it is inheritance or whether it is a properties coming from India or whether when we liquidate, at some point, if we need to shelter some additional monies that is outside of our IRA plans, can we do that? Can 401k do that? Hell no. In 401k, once you're out of the job, you cannot make any more contributions. But what if I have a 401k plan where you can contribute until the last day of your life and can remain in the market and can have market direction and can make 6 to 12% and can make it all tax-free and tax deferred. Okay, that's what we are talking about. So we have tools like that, and it's really a shame that this kind of knowledge is kept outside the market, and this is not really available in the market. There's very, very few individuals who practice this because there's not much money in practicing this. That's a shameless plug, but it is true. So next we will go to those 10 minutes. I got another 15 minutes. So this is the first slide. What we have here is on we have about 15 to 20 parameters, but we are measuring about only 6 parameters here. What is about the growth, liquidity, tax-free, any limits, and the living benefits. So if we measure at least these 6, 401k fails in almost all of them. Okay, traditional IRA is the same as 401k. One is a company-wise, one is an individual-wise. Roth IRA fixes one problem, which is what? Tax-freeness. That is, in the end, you're going to get a tax-free retrieval. But upfront, you have to pay taxes for that. But even if you want that benefit, it is not really available to many because most of the people, at least on this group, they are higher level tax bracket. So it is not really available. It's there on the paper, but it's not available. So to fix all these problems, we have a plan called Tax Advantage Retirement Plan. I'll keep out a lot of jargon out of this for this 20-minute session. So for now, we can fix all these problems and then some. And it's all available to us. What does this bring? Ultimately, what it brings is by taking out, by addressing the risk, what exactly are we getting? We're getting peace of mind, stress-freeness. Imagine when you have that $500,000 to $5 million in your account and you did not do anything and you thought it will go, market will go up, and you're 65 and the market goes down 40% on you. You know, there's a very good chance that you might even get a heart attack on the top of that because your nest egg is going down. So it is a indirect stress. So the financial stress, so apart from the health stresses, we want to eliminate the financial stresses. But how do we eliminate the financial stresses? Depending on where our money is parked. If it is in 401k and other related products, and if we do not want to address the risk, we have to be in money market or close to CDs, kind of this thing, which is also taxable and very low income. But inflation is eating it up. So if we are going to make that 1%, if the inflation is between 2 to 5%, we are net losing the money. So the only instrument, or at least the most popular instrument that's addressed by anyone, is you got to be in equities. But after 60, 65, I cannot be in equities. Why? There's a risk. But if there is an instrument which can address the risk, can we remain in equities? The answer is absolutely and resounding yes. So you can remain in equities and make that 6 to 12% annual return until the last day of your life, which is not really possible in IRAs. It is possible, but you're risking. So, and no professional will tell you to risk that. They're mandated to tell you that in a different way, like bonds or whatever it is. But because we have these instruments where we can address the risk, we can be in the market until the last day of your lifetime and have a lot of additional benefits, which is we have liquidity, and there's no limits as well. So that means in 401k, all we could put away was $25,000. What if you want to put away $100,000? What if you want to put away $500,000 every year for several years? So you can do that, and there's no limits. And then you can take out anytime. You're not worried about before 59, after 71, and all those limitations. You can get rid of all those limitations. And then once upon death, if I die with the $2 million in my 401k account at I'm 70, which is very realistic, what happens? Guess what? I may have beneficiaries, but I'll lose very close to, that's a very high tax bracket. Somewhere between 40 to 50% is gone. I have to write it to somebody check. So technically I had $2 million, but $1 million I'm parting with somebody. Who is my partner in IRA? Many people do not know that they have a big partner. They have funded this account called IRA or 401k, but they have an invisible partner, which becomes visible at the most important time that you need. That is the most important phase of your life where you don't have other incomes. And this is your income, which is your 401k plan. Guess what? You have a partner, Uncle Sam. He decides what is your tax bracket. So a quick word about the tax brackets. As recent as 1970s, during the the wartime, the taxes were as high as 90% nominal tax brackets. Today, we are in a historical low point. There's a tax sale going on right now. Okay, so if I have to take a 1 minute guess, most likely the direction in the next 30, 40 years, which is when we are going to retire, is going to be higher and not lower. Okay, so that's a quick word about that. Same thing with estate taxes. So if you are going to be net worth anywhere between $3 million and higher at the time of our death, we have to deal with estate tax. So it's not like in India where you pass all your wealth to your kids. Between here, it's a very important thing. Between us and our beneficiaries there is one more step involved. What is that? The state. Okay. And the day we are dead, everything goes into our estate, and then estate taxes is evaluated, and then we pay the state first, and whatever is left over goes to our beneficiaries. And that's also a very high number. Guess what? As recent as 1997, it was only $500,000. And currently it's $11 million, but it's a very short time. In 2025, it's going to go to $25 million. But Congress is very quickly, it was almost going to be $3 million in December. It didn't pass, but you can head the direction. It's going to go down because they can get away with it. So the direction is the estates, anybody who is going to have any meaningful net worth, they are going to be dealing with that one way or the other. Okay. So that's another thing. So death, taxes, estate taxes, and income. And is 401k a very good wealth preserving and wealth building tool? So yes and no. So it is at best, it is not a best tool, it's a good tool, but we have a better tool. Now, that's a brief summary on the comparison between what is available and what we have, which is the most popular product. And the same thing can be said of real estate too. So you'll have taxes, and what are you going to do about it when you pass or when you liquidate it? How are you going to manage it? Whether it's going to be your estate or not, what it is doing while it is alive. So those are the things. Now, the root of all this plan is based on a tool which looks like this. So the 401k is a red line where it goes up and down in the market. It's directly proportional to whatever goes up and down. So the TARP tool gives you a plan where you can make contributions exactly like 401k, but it is protecting you from the market downside protection. So you can see the green line. Whenever there's a market goes down, like here in 2007 or in 2000, there was a sharp downturn. Whereas in the TARP, you have a horizontal line. That means if you had $100,000, your 401k came down to $60,000, where it remains at $100,000. And this is a huge thing. You cannot underestimate the value of this thing. So that means when you lose 40% in the market or 20%, that is saved in this plan. You're not losing that 20 or 40%, you lose nothing. So by the time the market goes down 50% and comes back at 100%, you're back where we are. That decade is 2001 to 2010 or 11. If you're 100,000, you're back at 100,000 in 10 years. Whereas here, you would have made much more. You doubled or even more value in that. So basically, the market downside protection. So now we can also ask, in the remaining 4 decades of life, somebody, average 50-year-old group, they got 4 decades. How many downsides they're going to have? At least even for one per decade, even 20% corrections is going to be much more worth in the just upside returns in this tool, which you cannot have in a 401k kind of related tools. So this is the crux of it. You're given a market downside protection. And based on this, you have the use cases. So let me see. And here is another profile. All the tools that we know, whether CDs, 401ks, everything at age 65, all the other lines, they go, you're accumulating after that, they just fall off. Whereas this particular tool, you're continuing to build, you're using this tool both as a wealth preservation, wealth accumulation, as well as income producing tool. Like I said, a quick thing, like $1 million at age 65 that you accumulated over the last 10 to 15 years or 20 years. In 401k, you're pulling out between $600 to $800,000 maximum, depending on your tax bracket and the monetizing. Whereas in this tool, you're pulling out, if you're pulling out income, you're probably looking about $3 to $4 million is what you're pulling out as an income, like in a pension. If you're using it as a wealth building tool, you can make between 8 to 11%, 8 to 12%. This is all based on the simple assumptions of market making around 7%. So what does 7% do? It basically doubles every 10 years. So the concept of compounding works very well. So while your 401k is very static after the age of 65, this is compounding very nicely. So it's a fantastic wealth building tool. Now, is it too good to be true? Where is this coming from? Which platform is it coming from? So this is the pyramid of the safety pyramid. So we saw all those benefits, but where is it coming from? It is coming from one of the strongest industries out there. So it comes from the insurance industry, and the banks and the institutions go to put in this product that I'm talking to you about, which is not really available to a normal person. And this is how it looks like over a 30-year life cycle, or actually, I should say 50, 60-year life cycle. So the 401k, which is a red line, it sprints ahead. In the beginning, it is sprinting and whatnot, but after 65, what is happening? It is boiling down to a 4% rule or a 2% rule, depending on how much money you got. And you cannot really build it after that. You're actually flat. Whereas this tool, TARP, it takes a little bit planning, slow to build. It takes 3 to 5 years to just plan and build it. And once you build it, it just runs. And the important thing is, in the golden years, between age 65 to 90, it has all the beautiful benefits. All the benefits that you have here, you do not have in 401k. That's the thing. So somewhere the number is between 1 and 12 times more beneficial for transferring and or placing your assets. It's basically moving your asset. It's not an investment. It is moving your assets into this instrument from your existing instrument. So what are the sources you can move into this bucket or instrument? It could be your existing IRAs, your existing savings, or your equities, or whatever it is, or your other incomes. So you're basically moving your asset into this thing over a period of time. There's no hurry. You can move into this asset. And it's also an excellent tax shelter. For example, if you had that $1 million and let's say your contribution size, average annual size was $50,000 before you build the start to $1 million. Guess what? You can continue to contribute that $50,000 until the last day of your life. And that will be tax sheltered. So after 65 or whatever, 70, if you're getting any inheritance or from India or here, liquidating your house, you got another 200,000 or whatever it is, you can go and dump it here. Can you put that same thing in a CD or in a 401k? The answer is no. You can park it here, and whatever you're growing here is tax-free. And guess what? What happens when you had that $1 or $2 million in this thing and you pass? Guess what? It will not be cut down to 50% or whatever your tax bracket is. Your beneficiaries will get all of this money and then a little bit more, another 5 to 10% more. Within 10 days, there is no tax man and nobody in between. It's one of the living benefits you got. So not only you're not losing any money upon your death, but you're also gaining all of it, and quicker and faster and a little bit more. So that's another how the death event plays into this thing. So to summarize, the accumulation, you have the distribution time, your taxation issues, and the death event. How is the 401k treating it, and how is this plan treating it? Whole ocean of a difference. Okay, so I got another 5-10 minutes. Okay. So basically, here's a tax-free bucket. This whole plan is all about moving your assets into the tax-free bucket, and it takes a planning. Everything most of you all own today is either in a taxable bucket and tax-free, tax-deferred bucket. And this is a plan where you can move all of it into tax-free bucket and get all the advantages that I mentioned before. It's about 15 to 20 advantages. I highlighted only the top 5-6 advantages. Now, let me quickly go through story, like a use case, because people remember the stories much better than all the jargon. So somebody who is going to accumulate an asset worth about $2 to $3 million by the time they are 65. Currently, they may be around $500,000 to $1 million or something like that. Let's say $2 to $3 million by the time they're going to be retiring, which is a very, very normal case. So what if they are going to be saving or putting away 15 to 20K, about $50,000 to $100,000 a year to put away into this bucket? And they got about $1 million or so into this bucket. So when you compare the same thing with a 401k, you saw what the benefits are and limitations are. From 59, you have to start taking them. You could start taking the money out. After 71, you have to take the money out, and you're taxable. And upon the death, you're going to lose based on your tax bracket. And if it's a higher number, you're going to be obviously in the one-time higher tax bracket. There's no tax bracket, a lower tax bracket when you have a decent amount of money there. So those are the 4 or 5 things staring at you. Well, when you're looking at 401k that has $1 million or higher in your account, what happens for the same thing that you put away, the same thing that you built over a 10 to 15 year period, you put the same $1 million there into a TARP. First of all, you are still in the market. In 401k, you're not in the market. Here, you can continue to be in the market. Why? You got the market protection. You're growing 6 to 12%. If there's a good market return of a 30-40% return, guess what? You'll have that in your retirement account too. So 6 to 12% is an average, but that is not limiting your high-end reward either. Okay. So one of the things that most people do not understand about the risk about S&P 500 is historically it's 7%. But what is my current risk this year? It could go down 40%. I could get 30% return. So there's 70% variation between the low end and the high end. Okay. So here in this product, in this platform, you're taking out the lower 40% you're taking out. Okay. So your lowest you can get is 0. And the highest you can get is whatever the market gives. So there are a couple of products where some of them have caps, some of them have no caps, depending on whatever it is. But basically, you know your high mark is anywhere between 10% and 30%. Okay, and your low mark is 0. You know that. But your average could be between 6 to 12%. Therefore, you can be invested for the rest of your lifetime, even after 65, with safe and sound and secure. Okay, with all the protection. What does that safety and investing in being in the markets, tied to markets, not investment, it is you're tied to the markets. It is giving that 6 to 12% of everything, like it's like a variable CD making 6 to 12%. Okay, and it is tax-free, tax-deferred, and a whole 9 yards. We don't have any of this thing in 401k. And numbers-wise, you're looking to tap in anywhere between, for the same per million, between ages 65 and 90, you're looking to pull out anywhere between $3 million to $12 million, whether you're using it as an income-producing tool or a wealth-building tool. When you can have one for your spouse and one for yourself, I mean, you can do any number of combinations. So that's a quick thing. So for everyone to remember is, you can make a lot more better than what you have in a IRA accounts or in any other risky asset. For some people, real estate may be maybe a reasonable one, but it's not a liquid asset. Okay, so that's another thing. Another and fantastic use case is for under the same principle, same instrument, college planning or gift giving for the kids. What can you do? At some point, you have to shell out a lot of money either for a kid's college education or later in your lifetime when you're trying to gift to your kids. Guess what? You'll be having problems with the same thing as a gift giving Uncle Sam and the taxation and accounting and all those things. Here, there's a fantastic good news. You can actually gift your kids $80,000. For example, if your kid's college tuition fee is $80,000 a year for your college education, you know what? You can borrow those $300,000. You can establish this thing here, teach them some nice financial planning over a 20-year period. Let the kids pay off the loan and let this thing build up. This will build up anywhere between $1 to $3 million, depending on what they are doing from there onwards. So by the time they're 40, they can have anywhere between $250,000 to $2 million worth of nest egg, depending on how they paid off their loan. And that's the only thing that the parents ever have to come up with. They don't have to give any money again ever to their kids. This is if they're doing it by the way of college education. But if somebody is not doing by the way of college education, they want a wealth transfer. This is one of the best ways to transfer their wealth to their kids, because you're in control for as long as you want, and it is growing. And at the day when you're ready to pass off the baton, At that time, you can give the control. But until then, you are in control, but you're able to transfer a very decent amount of wealth with all those parameters, 6 to 12%, and no downside risk, all the legal and estate planning and all those things taken care of. And this is the best, one of the best alternatives to estate planning for all the people who are going to be worth the higher numbers, like $2 million and higher. At some point, you will be needing estate planning and all that stuff. So this is a fantastic alternative to estate planning. I mean, you can do the estate planning, but this is one of the best alternatives out there for the estate planning as well. Let's see what else we have. Okay, so talking about the risk, this is for your nest egg. That means whatever you're going to save for your retirement that you're going to depend when you're not going to have a paycheck, you're going to get it. This is one of the fantastic alternatives out there. And what are you going to do with all the 401k money? You can get all that money out slowly, gradually into this bucket as well, and enjoy the fruits throughout your lifetime. Now, all that was possible because you're able to reduce the risk, and because of that, you avoided the market timing, and you've been compounding your money, and you have peace of mind, and you're not doing any market management. And when the market tanks, you are smiling. You're not having a heart attack. You're going to have a smile when the market tanks 40%. Why? By the time the market comes back 40%, guess what? You'll be up anywhere between 60% to 100% higher in your portfolio. So that's a beautiful thing about. If the market goes high, are you worried? If that $1 million converts into $2 million, will you be worried? Oh my God, I don't know when to lock it or when to take it off the table. A lot of my friends, including myself, moved seven-figure numbers when the market doubled in the 2016-27 timeframe, waiting for the market. Guess what? We could never get back in the market. Market doubled and left another 100% on the table. That's what I'm trying to say. Whether you lose the money market or because of the when the market makes a lot of money or market is losing money, it is enticing you to come in to make your move. That is it is getting you into market timing. This takes rid of all this market timing. Meanwhile, if you want to do market timing, it has all the bells and whistles. You can come in and do a lot of market timing in, but with the protection that you're not going to lose your shirt. So that's another beautiful thing about it. So this is what you can do with your nest egg. These are 401k and the future monies and whatnot. Now I will take a 1 minute deviation about my the other investment. Let me see. I have it handy here. Yeah. So I have only one chart here. So everybody knows that if your money is parked in S&P 500, if the market makes 10%, you make 10%, market lose 10%, you lose 10%. Okay. But what if you make, this is a U-shaped profile. The blue line here is a U-shaped profile. This is what my fund does. That means you make your money you make your money in the market. If the market goes up, that means when in the uptrending market, you make 2 to 6 times the money that you have invested. And in the downside markets, you make 1 to 2 times what you have invested. But while the S&P 500 is moving from the positive territory into a negative territory, like what is happening right now, there's a trough here. So during that time, there is a drawdown. So that drawdown is anywhere between 20 to 30%. That's a defined risk. So what happens is if S&P 500, so let me take the use case of 2020 market downturn. When the market went down 40% during that time, so here is the market going from 0 to 40% in the negative column. What happened to the fund? For the first 5-10% of the fund, it is making that U-turn. During the U-turn, it took a market downturn of under 10% drawdown here. And by the time the market was down 40%, the fund was up like 40%. So needless to say, in the market, when the market went down that 40% in those February, March, the fund made about 40% return. And S&P 500 came back, within 6 months, it came back to normal, right? So it gained back that lost 30-40% and came back to normal. By the time it wiped out the losses and came back to normal, the fund made additional 100+%. By the end of the year, it ended up in making about 200% return with a maximum drawdown around 10-15%. So that was for 2020. For 2021, there were it was a boring market. There were not any swings on the 3 to 5% on the either side of the normal swing. It was slow, and the market made 2 times the S&P 500. S&P 500 gave in the mid-20s, the fund gave close to about 50% return, with a maximum drawdown of about, I think, 18%. So we are waiting what's going to happen in 2021. So this is what it is. So it is a fund of funds. I now have one fund, which is again about this defined risk S&P 500, available for only people with a minimum $100,000 investment. And there's no bells and whistles attached with it, and people can withdraw money anytime they want. And it's available for retirement as well as non-retirement income. And this is basically an invitation by address, invitation personally once I've been qualified that they are high net worth individuals and are looking to invest $100,000. So this is one thing, and I'm looking to add another 5 to 6 funds in the next 1 to 3 years. Anything that I'm going to touch is going to be either defined risk or low risk or no risk. So whether it is going to be investments or the first part, which is financial planning, which is addressing the risk. So there I will conclude my 2 parts there. And let me leave my contact information screen there.
Okay, great. Thank you, Natsuma Garu. In fact, as we were going through the presentation, one thing stuck to my mind, which is maybe we should have a workshop style presentation probably for the whole hour sure. Or a major part of it in the near future. Right. Because this is so near and dear to a lot of us. Right. I felt the same thing about Keshav Garu as well, because a lot of people wanted to bring their own personal scenarios. I do see some questions. Do you have any closing thoughts, Sandy, or can we move to questions because we ran over a little bit?
I'll be available here. If people have any questions they want to hang around, I'll be here to answer all the questions.
Great. So let's quickly, very short and sweet. We have 2 questions, Sai Manapragada, as well as I think Sunil Garu and yeah. So can we go with Sai Garu first with your quick question?
There's one question from Hari also.
Yes. Sure. Yes. I just saw it. Go ahead, Sai Garu. Can you hear us? Can you quickly ask your question?
Maybe you can stop sharing your screen.
Okay.
And post this contact into the
chat. All right. We'll do that. Stop sharing. Okay. All right. First question.
Okay, I don't know if Sai is still here or dropped off. We can move to the second question from Sunil Garu. Sunil, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm here. Hey, just wanted to check, like the one that you're talking about is it like issued by any particular like fund house, or this is something that you're completely managing? Like, for example, also like you hear about like LERP or IULs, right? Is it like
yes, it is an IUL.
Oh, this is an IUL you're talking about.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, and this is like issued by who? Like I think, like for example,
there are about 100 major companies right now, and I work with the top 5.
I see.
And they're all multi-trillion-dollar asset-based companies.
I see. Okay. And what are the costs involved with all these things?
So 2 parts of the good news. First of all my services are free. There's going to be no costs, either consultation or any fees or upfront fees or later on fees. When you move the assets, it is front-loaded and it will be self-paid off. And none of this thing is an investment. All the financial planning is not an investment. So it is like a 401k. We don't cancel 401k. We don't think about doing all that stuff. It is not an investment. So we plan to move a good part of our nest egg. For example, if we are worth, like say, $2 million, we can think about moving a 10% of our nest egg or 20% or 30%, depending on our custom things, move that into this nest egg and reap all those benefits throughout our lifetime. So this is more like an asset moving thing, along with the advantages of all the equities world, which is not available in the equities world. In equities world, we have equities, but we don't have any risk protection. Whereas in if we go into pure CDs and all those things, we don't have the returns. So It is basically Roth IRA, triple plus, and Roth IRA on steroids. You can say that with the market downside protection.
All right. Okay. I think my basic understanding of IUL is that when the market goes down, you have a floor of 0% or 1%.
Yes, that is a market protection.
But you said like you make money when the markets go down. So that part I did not understand.
No, that was the second part. That was the second part. But that is about my fund. That is an investment.
That's your fund.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
In the fund, it's a U-shaped profile. Yes, you make money when the market goes up. But again, that's a purely investment. That's not part of the financial planning.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm ready here. I was on mute last time. So I have very simple questions.
Sure.
How does this TARP protect against inflation? That's the first thing that I wanted to ask you.
Sure.
And second is, you mentioned about you can take out 11 million instead of 600K. So I want you to please elaborate on that.
Yeah.
And the third thing is this TARP tax deductible? Obviously, you might say, yes, it is. And so why only compare it to 401k instead of the other funds like SNMP? I think you already mentioned that against TARP. But why would you only compare it with 401?
Saif, can I request you to pause because there are like 4 questions in there. So
no, that's fine.
No, I think he gets it.
I will answer all 4 of them.
He gets it. Yeah. And the last question is, you said 65 to 90 years planning or death. Okay. Right. And is this what this scheme actually suggests? Or are we going to reap any benefits before we are 65? So that's one of the things that we want to know.
Okay, sure.
Okay. So those are my questions. Thank you. Thank you, moderator.
Right. Okay. So I'll try to answer as soon as possible, as quickly as possible. So what I'm saying is this has the highest amount of benefits in the distribution time, that is from age 65 to 90, which you do not have in a 401k. Okay. So the first question was about 600 to 100, 600K, that's what you're going to benefit.
Yeah,
so
11,
let's say if you have the $1 million at 65 and you have to, let's say somebody passes at 65, guess what? What's the tax bracket for $1 million when you pass? You will be in a 40 to 50% tax bracket. So you take out the taxes and whatever is left over will go to your beneficiaries. Let us say you don't pass and you are continue to live. The thing is, longevity comes into the picture. How much are you going to take out every year? Let's say you want to live for 30 years, so divided by 30, you're going to take $30,000 every year or so, something like that. Maybe say to 30, 40K. Let's make a round figure 50K for now. If you take 50K, the 50K is coming to you, it's like a paycheck. You have to pay taxes on that, whatever your tax bracket is. Okay. So, and I'm assuming that a lot of people who are, if you take 80% out of the salary, they are going to be in 20 to 30% tax bracket anyways. So even if you're taking money out over a 30-year period, you're taking out taxable. And thing is, you're not really growing because at 65, you're in a money market or something like that. If you're taking risk, it's a different thing. But most people will suggest, or reality is they don't, because at 65, you do not want to take that market risk. So I'm assuming that this is going to go more like a professional who is going to suggest a money market return, so it's not going to grow much, or 1 or 2%. Therefore, somewhere between 600 to 800,000 is what you're going to pull. This is either you could say before or after inflation, or somewhere there. Now in a TARP, what happens in a TARP is, if you have $1 million and if you're making 7%, you're doubling every 10 years, right? Rule of 72. So you got at least 3 to 3.5 times compounded, right? So if you're leaving it as a wealth building tool and leave it there, $1 million, if you're giving 2 power 3, that is 8. So you got in 30 years. So if you're looking at around there, you'll give a little bit fraction, but it is not limiting you by any chance with the market. For example, this decade, it gave a 12% annualized return. So you could have doubled in just 6 years. Okay. In the 30 years, if you got one good decade, you got a very good thing. Okay. So that's one thing. Now, assuming that you're getting 8 to 11 times, or 2 power 3, somewhere between 2 power 3 and 2 power 4 is what you're getting. So I put about $8 to $11 million is your high-end range if you're leaving it alone. Okay. Now, let us say you're living a full 90 years, and after that you're passing, you're going to get then plus another 5 to 10% over that. But the beautiful thing is that $8 to $12 million you're going to get tax-free.
You mean to say that 2 to the power of 10 is going to happen?
No,
I mean 2 to the power of 2.
2 power. So how many times you've compounding every 10 years, assuming that you got 3 decades.
Okay.
As a wealth building tool and a wealth preservation tool. Okay.
But only after 65.
No. It happens from anyone. I'm giving you a comparison from age 65. What happens after age 65? It can happen from any time. I mean, there's 65 is a number that I took because at that time we are going to start using it as a distribution tool. You don't have to use 65 as a number. So you can start contributing right from the age, from the day baby is born. You can start this instrument. You can contribute as little as a few $100s to as high as a few.
No. You answered my question. Excellent. Two simple questions is
right.
The TARP, does it protect against inflation? Second,
yes. Coming to that.
TARP, is it tax deductible?
Yes. Let me answer that question. It is not tax deductible. It is like a Roth 401k. You have to pay. It is after tax money.
Got it.
However, your retrieval is tax free. Okay. And how it is affecting how is it addressing the inflation? Now, when your money is tied to the stock markets, you're not invested, but you're tied to it. So these companies, they pay you based on the index. So if you are linking your money, your contributions to S&P 500, they will give you whatever is tied up to the S&P 500. If you go like a Barclays Trailblazer Index, which gave 13% return over the last decade, and when in 2001 to 2010, S&P gave between 0 and 2% annualized return for 1 decade. Okay, between 0 and 2%, whereas these funds gave between 6 to 8%. When the market was down. So that was the worst decade, you got 6 to 8%. In the best decade, you got 10 to 12%.
So basically, it's a fund that you're selling. Okay, got it.
Okay. So that is what you can get, and why you can put, well, you can, with a very good peace of mind, whether it is $500,000 or $10 million, you can park in these things because you're not market timing, you're not doing our day-to-day market analysis, you're not watching CNBC. And you're not doing any of that. You can just leaving it there. You're just putting it there, and you're forgetting about it, passive. And if you want to tinker with it, you have all the bells and whistles in there. You want to tinker, you can do market timing, but with market protection. It's like going to swimming with your protection here. Okay, so you're not going to sink.
Understood.
So that's.
This is awesome. So you're selling the fund. So the fund is performing in this way, which is that curve that you mentioned.
Right. U-curve, yes.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you.
Then that's an investment. That's not financial planning. Okay, I just want to make sure.
Got it. Thank you.
Sure, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your patience and for answering that. I think we are running over, but very quickly, Harika, you had a question. Please go ahead.
Yes. My question is very generic for everybody. So maybe what is the ongoing process?
Harika, your audio is not clear.
Yeah, let me ask the question because audio is not clear. The question is, Harika had a great comment, excellent presentation. What is the onboarding process for HNI into the fund? That's the question.
What is the onboarding question for?
What is the onboarding process for HNI into the fund?
Yeah, high net worth individual.
Oh, high net worth individual. So it's basically the qualifications are simple. There are 3 qualifications. The accredited investor is the actual name for it, the technical jargon. That means they have to be worth at least $1 million in net worth, not including the primary home, or $200,000 in a year, 2 years in a row annual income as another qualification, or combined income of $300,000 2 years in a row. So if somebody qualifies for any of these 3 parameters, they will be HNI/accredited investor, which is a technical jargon. So then you can connect with me and you can contact me. I can do a half an hour presentation, and then it is by invitation. So you'll get a binder after the presentation, you'll get a binder. It's a 700-page binder, and you'll be one of the members of the new investment. So it's a process, and it is. So I have. So it's a 3-company setup. It's an investment advisory GPLP setup, and it is managed by me, marketing by me. But I have a admin, I have a accounting and auditing firm. They're all independently and overseen by all the regulatory process, state as well as SEC.
Okay, great. Next question comes from Arvind. Is this suitable for IRA to Roth conversion?
So Arvind, can you be more specific? Which one? Is it the fund or is it the TRP?
Hi. Yeah. So thanks for taking my question. So it's basically I pretty much retired, so
Sure.
I'm not putting in any money into 401k.
Right.
I'm at a stage start thinking about taking money out of 401k or other IRA plans. So if I choose to do that and put it, go through the Roth conversion, is this what you're proposing? Is this suitable?
Absolutely, except in Roth, what are you going to do in the Roth? Once you convert the Roth, you're going to be in the markets or not? If you're in the market, do you need protection or not? So that's the thing. So what I have here is a Roth triple plus. So it's much, much better than Roth. It is Roth plus and then many more benefits.
Okay. So sounds interesting. So maybe I'll send you
let
an
me also
email.
say, let me also take up another additional question there. You said your money right now is in retirement accounts and you have to take it out and put it somewhere, right? But more important question, what is it currently doing? Okay. So I'm taking a wild guess here because you want to protect yourself. You're probably not in the markets. If you're in the markets, you're taking a risk. Okay, that's fine, whatever you're doing. But what if you would like to get the market returns and still have no risk? I have a plan for that also. Before you're transferring into this TRP, during the transition, it might take between 5 to 15 years to transfer your entire. So there's an intermediary step where, let's say you got a couple of $1 million in your IRA account, and how much can you take out every year? I mean, it's a taxable event, right? You cannot pull out all the $2 million in one shot. You're going to take out 100,000, 200,000. But guess what? $2 million sitting there and making 1%. How about making 10 to 12% a year while it is there? While you're transferring every year, a couple of $100,000, why not making? So I have a tool which made 10% to 12% in the last 10 years, even in your IRA accounts, even before coming to TARP. So TARP is a final place. There is an intermediary place, which is basically fixed index annuities, where you can grow exactly like an IRA, but without the risk of the IRA, or without the risk of the downside in the IRA funds, which is an S&P or the equity funds. You can still grow exactly like or very similar to the equity funds, but without the market risk. So that's also there.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay.
I think certainly requires more detailed conversation. So
Absolutely.
We will have
Okay, so we have, I think, I mean, there's a lot of enthusiasm. Thank you for sharing your contact, Dr. Keshav Garu. I think Narasimha Garu, if you can also share your contact in the chat.
Yeah.
A lot of people are asking for it.
Okay.
I think Kumar Garu, you had a quick question. If you can keep it short and sweet.
Yeah, just added to the same question as Arvind asked regarding the converting your 401k, present 401k, let's say, to Roth IRA.
Okay.
Basically, I have to pay tax today to
Right.
move that into the other side.
Right.
So no matter whether today or if not, my hirers, they have to pay the tax.
Dead or alive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Dead or alive. Okay. Thank you.
So yes, there is a transition. Oh, wait a minute. Did it? Okay. Yeah. Narasimha 347-463-2439. Financial planning 2009 at gmail.com. So yes, basically the taxes, you have to pay the taxes. There's no way around it. Let me add a couple of, right now, a lot of financial professionals, it's a tax sale going on. People with high amounts in IRA they think this is the best time in their lifetime. They're never going to get this much lower tax bracket in their lifetime, because Congress is already working on increasing these things, and the trend is higher. Okay. And what are they doing? Right now, all the people who have $11 million and higher above, that is going to expire very soon. Okay. So they're trying to convert all that in their IRA accounts to Roth IRA. They're paying off the taxes one time, getting done with it, and moving into Roth IRA right now, because that's the best tool that the Wall Street sells. Why? Because they're going to take that $5 million, pay a couple of $1 million or so in the taxes, put $3 million, and they're going to manage it and get a 2% fee. Okay. The tool that I got, you don't have to do any of that stuff. Okay. You can slowly, gradually convert it into the fixed indexed annuity. It might take 10, 15 years to transfer, but while it is transferring, you're still making 6 to 12%, and then eventually getting into your final TARP, and eventually you are going to get all the benefits during your distribution year from 65 to 90 also. You'll keep making money on your nest egg. So basically the good news that I'm bringing today is after 65, I mean, before 65, people are risking to put in the market, but after 65, they're not risking. So the good news today is you have the tools where after 65, you have tools where you can still be in the market and make that money, beat the inflation. And for all the people who want to have some things like social surveys, what am I going to do? How am I going to do better in my future? And a little extra dime in my pocket. For all those people, these are fantastic tools. Having $1 million and pulling out, monetizing only 70 to 80% of that versus monetizing 3 to 10 times the same thing is a huge difference. Extra $1, $2, $3, $4 million in your pocket. What can you do about it? You can do a lot of things in Bharat. You can do here. You can do whatever. I mean, basically, you can do the JNTUH and whatnot. You can participate in a lot of things. Extra money in your time. That time you'll have. So in 65, you have time, but what if you don't have money? All these years, either you have time or money, or you have one thing or the other. Okay, something or the other missing. After 65, you may have time, but what if you don't have money? You really cannot do much. So it can balance out somewhat. Basically, it is giving you peace of mind. It is giving you that passive income / passive placement of your assets, giving you a fantastic tax shelter. Here is a good thing. If somebody who's putting away $100,000 every year for about 10 years, let us say, before 65, they put away $1 million by taking $100,000 a year. Okay, guess what? In the remaining 35 years, they can tax shelter another $3 to $4 million. Okay, which you cannot do in 401k or any other plan. So you can put away additional $3 to $4 million in this one bucket. So not only this initial money is working for you, which is compounding every 7 to 10 years, it is doubling, but it is providing an additional tax shelter of whatever contribution size you take. If your contribution size is 100,000, it is 100,000 times whatever the number of years you can do it. That's $4 million you can tax shelter. If it is only $10,000, it's $400,000 you can tax shelter. So that's a beautiful thing. Not only it is tax sheltering, it's growing 6 to 12%, tax-free, tax deferred, and when you're dead, it is no taxes.
But is there a number of years that I need to keep in Roth IRA for tax-free exemption?
So to build this plan, the minimum time to take to build a TARP is minimum 5 years. Okay. So for example, somebody who is currently worth, let us say, somewhere between $2 to $3 million net worth. Okay. And they want to start putting away like 10% of it, like $100,000 over the next 10 years. So they can start today. Let's say they are in the early 50s. Again, I'm just taking that because the highest incidence. You can do this any age. Okay. There's no difference. Whether you're 70, you can do this, you can 10, or you can do 30. Like, for example, the kids I said, you can do at age 18, you can start it. And, they can have a 80K, IRA plan. So they don't have to muck around with smaller numbers, like a $7,000 IRA. But going back to this question, the conversion, you don't have to worry about it. So here, you're given all the benefits, protection, growth, beating the inflation, and the tax benefits, both before the death as well as after the death.
Thank you.
And this is all done by a code, by the IRS code. And there's only one place in the IRS code where you can take tax-free money. And that is the code that we are using here.
Great. I think the last question comes from Malik Garu. Can you please ask the question quickly so we can wrap up? Let me read it out. Is there a charge to start the investment in this fund, or are there finance charges going forward?
Come again, can you repeat?
Yeah, is there a charge to start the investment in this fund, and are there any finance charges going forward?
Okay, fund is totally different. Fund is an investment. So there's a $100,000 minimum investment. There are charges involved. It's a 3% management fee and 30% performance fee involved as far as the expenses are concerned. For the financial planning, there are no expenses involved. Services free, advice is free. Typically, what I do is I give a 1 hour one-on-one presentation. If they think they like it, then I give about 3 to 10 hours of one-on-one education, because I bet on education. Typically, my conversion ratio is around 50% after giving the education, people liking what I'm serving. And there's no charges, no fees. I'm very, very happy to educate one person at a time. And like I said, what is my credentials? I was a top producer in my company last year. And I'm not 20 years in this business. I've been only 2 years, but I did about 2,000 hours of my time into this thing. And how do I differentiate myself? Basically, I am all those financial professionals, plus with all the analytical skills that I got from my software background, plus the financial background. So I'm a triple plus in that way.
Thank you. I think we've had a very extensive session on this. Some of our alumni folks have dropped as well. So let me quickly turn it over to Vishwa Garu, who is our treasurer, to share his message of thanks to our esteemed speaker, Narasimha Garu.
Narasimha Garu, చాలా థ్యాంక్స్. సారీ, తెలుగులో చెప్పబోయాను. నరసింహరావు గారు, చాలా థ్యాంక్స్. ఇట్ ఈస్ రియల్లీ గ్రేట్. యూ హ్యావ్ ఎ వెల్త్ ఆఫ్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ అలాంగ్ ద వెల్త్ దట్ యూ కెన్ మేనేజ్ టు అదర్ పీపుల్. And on behalf of our executive committee and audience, I thank you for enlightening us on wealth creation protection for a peaceful, happy living, particularly on TARP.
Great, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks again from executive committee to one and all.
So, yeah, anyone, any questions, please feel to communicate with me, contact me. We're very happy to help you out, educate you, and very happy on a one-on-one as well as for the referrals as well.
Sure, Randy. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you once again, Narasimha Garu, for a very enlightening and insightful presentation. So let's turn over to the last segment, which is meet and greet for people who have joined us late. Since Sudhakar Garu who was going to preside over this, who's our
I would suggest Kumar to continue, since he started it.
Right, I was going to say the same.
No problem. Yeah, sure. I see some new people here. Can you please come up, turn on camera and then introduce yourself? Just for, let's say, Pavan Polkampalli.
Oh,
you're on mute.
That's my brothers from India. You can pass.
Okay, how about Mallikarjun has a hand up. We can start.
Sorry, we already addressed the
Mallikarjun,
question.
yeah.
Okay.
Kumar Garu, 1 second. Let me close the webinar so I can stop recording.
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
continue with this. Okay.
Yeah, you can stop.
So once again, thank you all for joining this monthly webinar in March. And please come back in April. We always meet second Saturday at 10 Eastern. This month we had an exception because of conflicts, but please do come back and